Hello and good day to you, my beautiful friends. I do hope you are well. Welcome to episode 37 of Cross Button VR, our journey into the world of PSVR2. A show for those who want to share in our newfound enthusiasm for the world of VR. Hey, I'm your host Laurie, but hey, guess what? We are part of the Cross Players. So, if you find yourself enjoying what you hear, do check out thecrossplayers.com, and there you'll find links to all of our content and our Discord. And if you like this show, you should check out the Crosscast every week, our weekly podcast that covers the full spectrum of gaming. Now, it is an honour to be joined once again by two of the most sparkling influencers in the metaverse. It's Ben and Alex, reunited at last. Hello, chaps.
Hi.
Hello.
I'm so happy to have my podcasting husband back.
I've missed you guys.
You're smiling.
Sorry.
Smiling.
Sorry, I've been
You
away.
no need to apologise.
2 weeks, right?
Yeah, I don't think it was your fault last week. It was my fault last week. So you no need to apologise, Ben. No need to apologise. We all need a break from Alex sometimes. I mean, we all need a break from podcasting sometimes.
My husband tells me that as well. Don't worry. So
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's why
Good to
you're
be back.
banished to the VR every night. Get into your headset.
Do you know what
And
though?
so-
It's been really nice just listening back to shows and editing the shows without having to look at my stupid face or hear my stupid voice, and it's been a real treat. And great to have Reese on the other week. He was really good. So yeah, it was nice. I felt like a fan. It was lovely.
Yeah. Wow. We'll get you signed up to our Patreon.
Yes, I will, because it's great value. Thank you.
Oh, we'll get to that later. Well, there's been, after the last few weeks, we've had a few big old weeks of releases, and this week it feels like it's kind of quieting down in the news. There's been a few bits and bobs we've got to talk about, but no big things, but it's quite nice. It seems like things are getting delayed, and we've actually finally got a chance to catch up on some of these big releases, which is good. But we've had, so last week we talked about our initial impressions, or Alex and I talked about our initial impressions of a few games. Since then, these games have all mainly come out and they've been reviewed. So I thought it'd be good to just go through some of those, because some of them have been good, some of them we were we were in consensus with everyone else, and some of them we seem to be out there on our own with some of them, Alex. And let's start with that one. Let's start with the Foglands, because they did not nail their reviews, sadly for them.
no, and I was incredibly surprised when I started seeing these reviews, because the two of us hadn't spoken about our experiences with the game when we spoke about it last week. So, and we did come in the consensus that we both quite liked it. Like, there was nothing. We weren't sitting there expecting this to be like, oh my god, this is one of the worst experiences I've ever played in VR. But in fairness, that was more on the Quest side and the PSVR2 side. And I think when you've seen some of those videos, it was bad. Like,
That did look bad.
It was bad. But from a PSVR2 perspective, I thought it was fine. Like,
It's interesting to be able to play a game, because usually when you play games, they've already been reviewed out, and you kind of get a sense of what the kind of consensus is, and tend to only play games like, reviewed. But with we're lucky enough to get access to these games before release, so we can get hands on and play them and give our impressions on them. And so both of us came at this with no influence or anything, or people thought it was good or bad. No one had sort of trying to shape our view, apart from, you kind of shaped my view by saying you thought it was good, and I agreed. Playing it, I thought I liked it. And admittedly, we've not played it for review. We've not sat there and tried to play the whole thing in the space of a few days, trying to review it and get a full picture of the game. So there is that difference of the approach that we're taking. But just based on our early impressions, I was definitely surprised that it was so badly reviewed, really, to be honest.
yeah, it's a shame. It's a shame for the guys, because it's a small team working on this, and you almost wondered if it was too much for them to release in so many platforms at once, and it for such a small team, and it just has stretched them a little bit too much. And they were supposed to be here tonight, unfortunately. Between one thing and another, they can't be, and hopefully we will manage to get them on at some point. But they are hard at work, as I've said, getting patches out and trying to get stuff out as quickly as they can. So they're taking the feedback on board and working through it.
They put out the classic statement that we seem to get more and more these days, saying that we hear your feedback. We agree that we know the issues that you've got. We're working on them as soon as possible. So it's good that they are going to carry on improving the game and put their heads down and get to work on improving things and polishing it and stuff. It's a shame that, again, with all these games, they only really get one chance to make a positive impression when they launch. Especially so few. I was thinking this, like trying to read the reviews for games. There are so few outlets that do review games, and the mainstream sites like kind of your IGNs and Eurogamers and GameSpots don't really review PSVR2 games outside of
No.
sort of first-party ones. They're not really reviewing them. So for these devs, it must be so hard to get any reviews, and then when you only one getting bad ones, I feel like when you get more and more, when you can get dozens and dozens of outlets to review your game, you can get a much more broad spectrum of opinion. But if only getting half a dozen, and 2 or 3 or more, the majority of those are poor reviews, it's going to be hard for people to see anything other than that, really. So yeah, it's a tough one.
And
Yeah, it's odd, isn't it? It's like while you were both talking about it there, because obviously I listened to last week's show and I was thinking like, oh, this sounds like a 7.5 kind of a game. Good, if not spectacular, but solid. But then looking around, it seems to be like more of a 5 or a 6, which in numerical terms doesn't sound that different from 7.5. But on a review scale, that's like the difference between a bad to bang average game and a good game, right? And I just wonder if do you think we skew higher on games in general because we're more new to it? Do you think that's
I think
something to do with it?
I mean, it's great having you as part of our lineup, Ben, frankly, because you play a lot of games. You'll be like, I don't like this. You're a bit more honest. There's a few that I can think of that I think we have said where we don't like stuff. We're honest about it, I feel like. And sometimes I play games I'm like, I think this is good, but it's not the sort of game I would normally play. So it's not for me. So I don't like it. So it's not really. I feel it's not really appropriate for me to review it in that sort of sense, because it's like, well, it's not my kind of game. It'd be like me trying to review FIFA or Call of Duty. It's just I'm never going to play these games anyway, just because we're getting access to it with a review code. It doesn't really. I'm curious. I'll try things out, and I'm always up for trying new things. But sometimes a game will really gel with me, and I'll love it, and I'll just want to keep playing it, and I'll wax lyrical about it week after week on the podcast. And sometimes other games I play, I'm like, this, I can see this is good. Everything it's doing well, but it's just not really not my kind of thing.
That's a good point. I wonder if there's an element of that then with like some of the bigger reviewers. There seems to be a sort of a tendency towards shooting games and more traditional like squad-based online shooters amongst VR as well. Like that's the big thing that people gravitate towards. And I wonder if like a game that isn't like that, like the Foglands, whether that is just they're sort of forcing themselves through a review as well. Like this, this isn't I could be shooting someone's head off instead. I'm fucking choosing what card.
Those sorts of games, though, you got to remember they're the sort of games that probably, if you're a streamer, that's what gets your viewers to tune in and watch you in those sorts of games. So it's not just them being kind of only being narrow-minded. It's like, well, they want the audience engagement, and they know what the audience wants to see, and that's what they're going to play. So yeah, there probably is an element of that. And I think playing any roguelike to review it in the space of 2 or 3 days to get a review out by launch. I mean, we're quite lucky. Often we get codes and we don't get around to playing them for months, and then it'll be like, oh yeah, that game in the launch lineup, I fucking played that. It's pretty amazing, great. But if you are a big YouTuber and you've got a name, you've got a reputation for your channel getting reviews out on the embargo, you've got to play these games quickly and a lot. And I think roguelikes, if you have to play any roguelike intensely, God, they're horrible games. I hate playing them. I have to play them just little and often, and you get better and better at it. But if I play anything like intensely, well, any game at all really, if I play it intensely, God, I hate it. So yeah, I always sort of take any review with a pinch of salt, because I think, well, the way that I play a game is going to be very different from how this reviewer has had to play it.
And I pondered the same thought as you, Ben, when this happened, because I think I did put a tweet out basically said, I don't know if we do have a completely different viewpoint in things because we are new to VR, or whether it's just what I've kind of come around to thinking is, I think the tolerance for jank and the tolerance for issues is gone. And I feel like automatically now, if there's stuff in there that people don't like or stuff that they don't see, then that's taking 3-4 marks off rather than maybe 1 or 2 before, because they're just not, the tolerance is gone because there's been so many games now that's coming out and whether they've had issues. And I think that's now hampering these games probably unfairly to a certain extent, I would say. I mean, I'm not criticising anybody's score that they give a game. A review is subjective, and that's your experience with the game. And I think it's also why I've always been really reluctant for what we do to put a score on a game, because I don't feel like we're the right people to score a game. I think we can give our opinions in the game, and I think we can be honest about the game, but I don't think we're going to sit here and go, it's a 9 out of 10, it's a 10 out of 10. We don't have the VR experience for that, and I think we're honest about that. But it's a shame.
Yeah.
I do feel quite bad for all VR, well, not all VR developers, but the vast majority of VR developers are really small studios out there working in something that they're passionate about, and they're trying to get out there. And as Laurie said earlier, you get one chance at a first impression, and it just feels like if you don't get it out the gate and get it out the gate right, you're gone. And it's not a nice place at the minute.
It feels like with a lot of these games, we've had VR games, and VR Generation 1 has been and gone, and there's been a load of developers learning things, and the games seems like now they're stepping up to a different level of complexity and ambition, because the hardware's moved on, but also the developer experience has moved on. And it feels like almost, it's like when they went from the SNES to the PS1 generation, and the games were just trying to work out what worked in 3D, and a lot of it was really janky and messy, and it didn't really stand the test of time. And it feels like VR as a medium is trying to step forward with these bigger, more complex and more ambitious games, of which I'd kind of put this out, and it feels like developers are, the fact that we're seeing it more and more of games just launching in a not great state, is it's taking on too much. Then they hope to get this stuff working, but it's just hard and it's complicated, and they're trying to make it on lots of platforms with limited resources and limited budgets, and that's why we're seeing these games fall over. So
it's a good point, and we see that's probably why we see these flashes of brilliance in a game, but then it's marred by little technical glitches or performance or things like that. It's a good point.
I think VR Skater's a perfect example of that.
Yes,
because there was so much of that game that was so good, worked so well,
feels amazing to play, but then there's just like absolute game breaking stuff throughout it, which is just, it's a shame. Which makes it all the more exciting when you do stumble upon a game and you're like, oh, this feels like a proper game. Do you know what I mean? Like there's none of that, and it just feels, oh, this is actually polished and cohesive and works as expected.
Yeah. Well, let's move on to that, because that's a lovely segue there to the other game that got reviews this week, Vampire: The Masquerade Justice, which we were loving it last week. We could only talk about the very opening section, but we were just chomping at the bit to say more, because we love it, and it's thankfully everyone else seems to as well. This is one where the team, I think this is a bigger team, and they've got they traditionally make these big quite AAA or double A full mainstream Vampire Masquerade games, and this is more of a spin-off project, so they've got lots of resources compared to your average indie VR developer. But they've looked like they've knocked it out of the park though with this one.
Yeah,
so pleased with them.
Yeah, completely. I think from speaking to Eric at the time, and like kind of them taking on the license, and I suppose with Paradox to trust someone else with the license of the game is probably that's probably praised the team themselves to be able to get that. And I think if you look at, and I think I said this last week or maybe in a tweet, like when you look at what Fast Travel have done over the last 6 weeks between this I'm going to say it again, Ghost Signal. Yes, Ghost Signal, Stellaris game, and Broken Edge, which I think they just published rather than produced. But they really have landed good releases in this game as you play it. And we could only talk about the first bit, we can talk about it a bit more now. It's great. Like the feeling... Well, you can't, because you've untrained yourself to VR, but... like that feeling of being a vampire, and see just that the immersion and the leaning in to bite someone, the other mechanics that we can talk about, like the different types of takedowns, like the manoeuvring around the city, the look of the city, the sewers. Once you get the little crossbow, like the mini crossbow in the back of your hand, like that is so good. Like it works perfectly. The different types of darts that you get, to like sleep darts or corrosion darts, are so well thought through. So well presented, and as you said, Ben, it's a proper game. Like, and you get that added excitement of it being a proper game, a proper like atmosphere. And even then, we thought it looked really good, and then they put a patch out for day one patch, which makes it look even better. It's really
I saw their email that they sent to our mailbox, and they were like, if you may have some bugs and stuff, and you were like, no, really haven't noticed anything, but great. It's going to get better still. That's cool.
Yeah, right from the start, when you first start it, you're like, oh yeah, this is a good one. Like it grabs you, doesn't it? It's really good looking. I was actually quite surprised.
Mm-hmm.
The whole Venice setting, it's just like, when you're just at the start, I think you're just standing on a bridge, looking around, and just like, yes, this is going to be a good one. And it does throughout. I mean, I didn't get very far into it before I started getting the old motion sick quiz.
It's
all over again.
Well, because you can teleport around, but it's a full VR game. It's not one for newcomers.
Yeah.
Is it? It's quite an intense game. I turned off all the comfort options, but did you not have those on? With
no,
those?
because I think they're off by default.
Okay.
So there's no vignette or anything by default, and I don't know. I just thought, yeah, I'm all right now. I'm fine. But I haven't played VR for like 2 or 3 weeks, and yeah, I could just feel that not too intense, but just that, okay, I'm starting to feel a little bit clammy now and a bit uncomfortable, and I can't wait to get this thing off my head. And that was after about 15 minutes or so. So I was a bit gutted because I was really enjoying it. And like you said, Alex, that very visceral feeling you get just creeping up behind someone and just clamping down on their neck is what I've always wanted.
When I was playing it, I was kind of crouching, sort of like I'm creeping in the room, even though I don't need to do this because I can just use the sticks and just press the buttons. But you just feel it's so immersive. You feel like you want to just creep up on things, and and when you grab them, and then there's that little mini game where you have to stop sucking their blood when it's in that sweet spot.
So is that kind of like a golf game?
Yeah, basically.
Like the swing meter, isn't it?
Yeah. But when you nail it, and then because you've got that sort of super strength, you can launch your victims away and just like with a crumpled heap on the floor. It's so satisfying. It's so horribly brilliant. It's great. As a mechanic, I would never get bored of that. It's like Assassin's Creed just with the hidden blade. It's like that same effect.
So I tell you what though, during that sort of tutorial section, there's a bit where there's a lot of bits where you're sneaking around rooftops, but there's a bit where there's several kind of enemies down below, and I dropped down there, and obviously I'm trying to stay out of their sight, but they saw me, and when they started running towards me, I was like, I've got no idea. I don't know how to attack them now. Do I just go like sort of lean it? I had no idea what to do. I was like, I'm going to run.
No, you're dead. You're dead in that.
And I just died, and that's when I just gave up.
You can blink away. You can blink away.
You can do. But it's a tutorial to make you learn the stealth, and if it's kind of like you get shot, you're instantly dead, and you can restart and try again.
Good fun.
But
I feel like you have to fail to learn. Okay, that's what not to do. It's fine.
I was just going to mention the RPG elements of it as well, the upgrade and stuff, and choosing how you want to play, what you want to upgrade, like your abilities in Vampire. I found quite good as well. It's like whether you just want to be better at getting more blood out of your victims, so that you've got more abilities, or whether you want to have more interrogation techniques or more influence and things like that. I thought it was pretty good. And the same in the choices when you're dealing with the characters and part of the stories. It's a little bit like so we're talking about Journey to Foundation last week, and your choices and how you want to deal with the situations and approach it and the different outcomes. Pretty good, but it's the real deal, and I'm really glad that because it was not the last one for this year, but I feel like it was the one that everyone was kind of hoping, right, this is the one that needs to land, and it has, so it's good.
Yeah, and also got great reviews, and I saw them put out a tweet with all the kind of comments from various reviewers and stuff, and
not us.
Some great comments and things that people are saying about the game.
We did get a retweet from Shu, didn't we? So that'll do.
We don't write reviews, it's fine. But yeah, so that's good. That's Vampire the Masquerade Justice. Pick that one up. Next up, there's been reviews for Peaky Blinders, which is also out now. People are playing that. I know Reese has been playing that, hasn't he? And I think he's been a big fan of that one, I think.
Finished it, I think, hasn't he?
Yeah, I think it's very short. I think it's only sort of 3 hours long, sort of 2-3 hours long. It's just very small, very short experience. So probably again, less of a game, more of an experience, I guess, when it's that short, because it's just a couple of hours long. You're just playing it for the atmosphere, the almost the novelty of it, really, because it just you don't really get long enough to get into it to that full game to emerge from it. But I mean, that's not a problem. That's fine. I'm not saying that as a bad thing. If you're playing it something like Peaky Blinders, you just want to live in that world for a few hours. It's like the Batman game on PSVR1. It's only a few hours long, but it's just to inhabit that universe and that IP is really cool and fun.
Yeah, if you're a fan of the show, then yeah, of course. I've never seen it. Have you ever seen it? No. I've never seen Peaky Blinders. No.
I will play it. I do have a code to play it, so I will aim to play it and give some thoughts on it for next week. I haven't had a chance to play it yet. We did get a message just before we started recording saying they've had some reports of some bugs that they're looking into to fix, so please hold off giving the total views until they've got the patch out. So hold off until the patches come out and play it then and give some impressions.
Well, I was about to give my comprehensive thoughts on the game. But I won't now.
Let's hold off, Melody.
6 out of 10. Bugs. Yeah.
Then bugs. And next up, and I know this is what you've been playing, but we're going to be all over the place tonight. So, Alex, Cactus Cowboy, you've been playing that. That's had some reviews.
Yeah, well, you talk about bugs, and the bugs have taken over in this game, so that's again another quite a good segue. So, this is a game I think that people are going to write this game off just by how it looks, and you absolutely shouldn't. Like, you should not write this game off by how it looks. Like, it has a lot of heart, it has a lot of character, it's well written, it's funny, it's got really, really solid mechanics. The gunplay in this game is probably as good gunplay as I've played in any shooting game. It nails the reload, it nails the aiming, it nails the upgrades of the guns. You can customise your guns. You've got a bit like Vampire, you can flick to pick up the weapons.
What sort of game is it? What are you doing?
It's a first-person shooter game. Basically, it's a roughly 8-hour mission-based first-person shooter. You've got these bugs have come and taken over the planet and have been basically revived as spirit or something. I mean, the story's bizarre. The whole game is bizarre in a way, but it's made by one guy who has a full-time job and has been doing this in his mornings and his evenings outside of his job to get this game out there. And he's done a great job. Like, I do hope people see past the look to this game. And you've got the first Music Plants at War was the first game, which is basically, it was almost a proof in concept for this. It was a free demo or a free game that was launched with PSVR2, and it's just basically a much more refined version of that. But it's good. It's again, as you said, it's one of those that probably going to. It's a good game. It's not a great game. Like, so a lot of things you'll probably like irk you, like the voice acting is AI. It's not. It's not premium in any way, but it's not supposed to be, and it doesn't take itself too seriously either, which I think really is to its benefit. And yeah, it's the guys. I think the guy has done a really, really good job, and I really hope people give this game a chance because it deserves it. In all honesty, because I don't love first-person shooter games, but the more it made me laugh and it made me smile, and not a lot of games like that in a genre.
Not much makes you smile.
Not much makes me smile, yeah. But not a lot of games in a genre that I don't particularly enjoy will do that. And to still be able to do that, I think that's a really good achievement. And again, it plays really well. It's not a game for something that's been out there and made by one guy. It's not. You're not sitting there going, "Oh, it's this and there's a bug here and there's a bug there." There's maybe a couple of things here and there, but there's nothing game breaking. There's nothing that's really inhabiting you in any way. It's really quite solid. And again, this has come out in PC VR. It's come out in Quest. It's come out in Steam. So he has gone out and launched in three platforms. Wow. Doing this on his own. So massive congratulations.
To make a game, it just seems like the most monumental task for anyone to make a game that works, and then to put it out there. Like, fair play for that. It's just if nothing else. And the fact that it works and it's fun to play, that's just insane. I can't get my head around one person doing that in their spare time. So,
but also, Alex, fair play to you, because you do play these games that on the surface it's very hard to gauge the quality of them. And like, I took one look at so I've got a copy of this as well. I took one look at the icon on my PlayStation dashboard, and I had written it off. I completely judged the book by the cover and just gone, maybe I'll get around to that eventually. But now you're saying that, it's making me go, okay, well, I should have a look at it. But
I think you should definitely give it a try.
On looks alone, I'm just like, how good can the game possibly be if this is how good the icon looks? And I think, unfortunately, a lot of people will make that judgment as well. So it's good that, again, we are providing a service, as it were, by saying, no, this is actually pretty good, even though it might not look it.
And
so.
I think we got that. We basically got that feel from, usually at the beginning of the week, I'll put a tweet out or something saying that the game's coming in the week. And I specifically included that one, and I put something else into the next tweet, and it was almost like, oh my God, I can't believe you put that in there. And I'm like, don't judge the game when you don't know anything about it. Like, and
exactly.
people are
It's not
far
fair.
too quick to judge these things. I feel it was a bit the same, like if you go back to break stuff with that again, an absolutely terrible icon in the game, and this is like head and shoulders above that, like in terms of quality of game, it's head and shoulders. But even that game, there was something there. They did come out and it was too expensive at launch, and they cut the price and they brought it down. But I mean, it's just people are far too quick at writing things off. But at the same time, I think that comes again as a result of the number of bad things that have come out as well.
Yeah, I think, as you said earlier, people's tolerance has just
dropped
off a ledge, hasn't it? You mentioned price there. Cactus Cowboy is $11.99. Do you think that's about right?
Yeah, I think that's actually quite generous
Yeah.
for an 8-hour game, basically.
Not bad, not bad.
You don't think this guy making it on his own, if everyone's saying, oh, the art quality is not great, surely if he's got the skill to make a game like this, then next time just pair up with kind of an artist and someone that's got some skill in the art department and wants and can do that but can't make a game, and you're going to have a match made in heaven.
But I don't even think the art style, it's not a bad looking game, it's just the art style that he's chosen to go with, and I think the art
That's
style
the thing,
works with the, I mean, maybe it's
the
more
comedy of the game. It probably ties in, but because we don't know the comedy of the game, we're just looking at the icon and going, well, that looks
from
like
an icon perspective, it could be a bit more that side of things. It could be a bit more professional. Not professional. That's really harsh. I don't mean professional, but just a bit more.
Just a bit more polished,
feeling.
a bit more eye catching.
Yeah,
well, that's what I mean.
Hey,
someone who's got a bit more of an eye for design and stuff.
Get him on. Let him have a look at our thumbnails. We can hook him up. You know,
with you. Well,
there's some eye catching artwork if ever I've seen it.
Yeah, especially ones with Alex putting a face.
Yeah. Wow.
Well, Cactus Cowboy, thumbs up from Alex, and we'll see what Ben has to say about it soon. But fair play to the guy for making that game. Whatever. Right, let's rattle through some news now, because we are quite far into the show now. So who knows how much of this we're going to have time to get through. We'll just have a hard cut off at some point when we get to an hour, because Ben will be like, right, that's it, we're not going past an hour. Okay, so we've had this week a huge update for what many consider to be PSVR2's best game, and that's Gran Turismo 7. It's a big update, I think 7 new cars, but also a new track in the snow, which is really cool. Nice. Looks really cool, and I've not had a chance to check this one out yet. But again, in VR, you get to drive around a snowy track. It sounds very stressful. I'm driving in snow; it's like the worst thing ever. Like in real life, I mean,
that's
just doing that in. Yeah, but doing that in VR, just hopefully it's not too stressful, and you can just be fun because you can be like, I can't write this car off. It's fine. But yeah, that looks really good.
I imagine the track is the track covered in snow, or is it just the surroundings?
No, the track's covered in snow.
So you are driving through snow, so you get that sort of feel under your tyres.
Some of the new cars, it gives you like a car specifically suited to driving on snow.
That's cool.
But I mean, you can GT7 it. You can tune your car to put whatever tyres you want on it. I'm sure there'll be something you can put snow chains or something on you.
I am more partial to like rally style driving than like F1, just going around a perfect road. So
in real life or GT?
In both, really. That's how I drive on school run. Kids love it. Long, easy left, Daddy. And then I go
over crest.
But yeah, I'm amazed that none of this is really DLC. Although I suppose you can it's got riddled with microtransactions. So, but they seem to be quite generous in the amount of updates and extra things that they're adding to this game. So
yeah, because there was also I think 2 extra menus. In the cafe, and
you have to explain that because that just sounds like what?
Yeah, so you
can have pause menu, and it's got a.
So the cafe menus for those that haven't played Gran Turismo 7 are basically like your story mode bit. So you get a different menu, like a car menu, and you're basically learning about the history of these different types of cars. It could be like a Japanese menu, or it could be sports cars or F1 cars or something. It's basically a theme, and you have to acquire these cars through races and stuff. So there's two new menus as part of the update, and 50 new license challenges.
Wow.
I think so. It's quite a lot, and this update is quite a significant. It is the most significant update by a margin.
So yeah, we don't treat every bit of GT7 update as news on this show, but I think this one is quite a significant one, and it does have a new kind of biome, if you like, a new setting to race in. So it's worth checking out because
There's a roguelite in there as well somewhere.
Yeah, maybe
Shoot
first
out the
person
window.
shooter. Yeah, they've added vehicle combat in the game.
It's a Twisted Metal tie-in.
To be fair, that would be pretty awesome in VR as well. Cool. Well, speaking of games getting updates, we've also had Beat Saber's getting a new update. It's got a Rolling Stones pack of music tracks you can download, all of the Rolling Stones classics, and then some of the new tracks as well, which may be less classics, but
New? What? New?
currently. Yeah, they're still releasing
They're
albums.
even alive. Like,
Yeah.
or maybe in body.
Alex, yeah, Rolling Stones, they're still going strong. They still tour.
It's just the sound of them dribbling into a microphone.
Gotta be careful.
Yeah. But anyway, they got anyway. Beat
This one
Saber
goes
fans-
out to Gladys, Queen of the Bingo Hall. But no, this might get my dad to play VR because he loves the Rolling Stones. So maybe that's the gateway to get the older generation into.
I still haven't played Beat Saber, and there are now so many like packs of music that you can get, and they're all about sort of 10 quid, aren't they? Sort of 10, 15 quid for you can get all your favourite artists on there, and they're on.
Shame it's not the Beatles.
Now there's a band.
Yeah, okay. Right, next up, this was quite an interesting one. I thought we're getting a physical bundle, which is the first of these we've seen.
Oh, this is
for
nice.
The Last Worker and Tin Hearts coming out.
Yeah.
Presumably this is going to release once Tin Hearts is out. Because the same Wired Productions
Yeah.
that make these games. So they're bundling two of them together. So that's cool. That's a nice little perk. I mean, I don't know what the price is going to be on it. But yeah, for fans of physical games, this is a nice way to get a nice bundle of games with a nice little sleeve around them both in a collector's pack.
Yeah, decent. We don't get too many PSVR2 physical releases, so it's
No.
nice to see.
Other than all the perp games, like the other ones that you consistently get as a physical release, but other than that, you don't see very many at all now.
Yeah, and I quite enjoyed The Last Worker. It's got is a kind of story-driven experience that you're getting, and it's a game that has got a lot to say, which should be no surprise to anyone that knows its creator, Jorg. It's got a lot to say. It's a very political game. I couldn't finish it because there were a few difficulty spikes. I just could not get around and just trying, and it was like banging my head against the brick wall, and it eventually was making me feel getting the VR motion sickness just because I was trying to do it so intensely. So I did sort of decide to take a break and said I'd come back to it again at some point, but I haven't got around to doing so yet. But I did enjoy it as a game beyond the difficulty spikes there that ultimately were too hard for me to overcome. And then Tin Hearts as well, which is not out yet. Other bit of news related to Tin Hearts is that we were due to get a demo, but that's been delayed a week. Is it, Alex? You say?
Yeah, so it was supposed to be out the 2nd of November, it's now the 9th.
Okay, well, so people I'm sure can
Well,
hold
then,
on a little bit longer for that.
I feel like that'll be a nice Christmas one. Don't know why. It's got a sort of
Christmas
Yes, because they're almost like little
Christmassy vibe to
nutcrackers, aren't they?
Yeah.
Little toy soldiers. Are there any Christmas VR experiences? Because obviously there's lots of horror, lots of Halloween. We have Fantavision, which is your kind of bonfire night VR game. What about?
I might try that for Bonfire Night.
Yeah, all right, you go for that.
Why not?
What about
We'll
Christmas?
just go outside.
What's the closest we can get to a Christmas VR game? with PS2? Other than the
Snowy
new
track.
snow
Snowy
levels,
track.
I got there first. You bastard! Steal my punchline, why don't you?
Isn't there a snowy section in Resident Evil Village as well? Get up to the castle.
Yeah, that's a wee bit snowy at times.
Quite
Yeah.
Christmassy. It's a very
Yep.
festive game.
It's a big
Getting-
castle. Like castles can be Christmassy.
They can be.
I'm gonna think about this now.
Great question. I think we should put it in Discord.
Well, yeah.
Christmassy VR games.
Someone will know. Someone will know. If there's not one, we'll
Someone.
make one.
Reese will know. Reese will have played. Yeah, we are going to make one. Shit, we'll see. Sign this up for now. We'll get the Cactus Cowboy man on.
Yeah.
I should find
Cactus
out his name.
Cowboy Christmas.
I love
We'll-
the way
we'll
we
make-
just call him Cactus Cowboy.
We'll
Man.
get the Cactus Cowboy. Is he a cowboy?
Yeah.
Is he a cactus?
Yeah. He teaches gunslinging during the day.
Oh, in the game, not the developer. We're not.
I don't know what we're talking about. We're just getting really
How
meta.
talented is this man?
We're just getting meta now.
Yeah. Oh,
He's a cactus cowboy, yes. He is indeed.
Say, hey, look, I can do another segue here because Tin Hearts got delayed for a week, but also got delayed just for more than a week, though. It was Madison VR and Yamata.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Madison was 2024 and Yamata was indefinitely. We don't know when that's coming. So, I guess what we were saying earlier about games having. I think some of the versions have already launched or are due to release, and they're delaying the PSVR2 versions, which again comes back to what we were saying about just taking on too much work and not being able to deliver. So it's good that if they need time to delay it, do that, because you'll only get one chance to make those first impressions and to get those reviews. And if everyone plays a bad game at review, it's not going to be good.
'Cause I think Madison was very much like Tin Hearts in the fact it was a flat game, but rather than just kind of translate the flat game into VR, they're remaking it for VR. So that's why it's taking a bit of time, and you take your time. The more we see people taking the time for these games, the better, I think, because the last thing we need is more like absolutely bug-ridden releases.
Well,
Amen.
Mm-hmm. Well, one game that doesn't need more time apparently is Barbaria, which has been announced the release date of the 9th of November. So people listening to this show in a timely fashion will be looking forward to playing this in a few days' time. I've seen the trailer for this, and it seems to be like a kind of first-person melee combat type experience, but with a twist in that you're also all these battles take place in these castles that you can switch to some sort of god mode where you can build the castles, and you just as a castle building type thing, and you can put traps in it, so then when you're in them in first person and you're going to other people's castles, you have to navigate these castles that other people have designed and built with traps and stuff, which is a really cool idea.
Yeah. It looks good. It's one of these, I think it's very popular on other platforms. I think hopefully it'll get a good reception in PSVR2. I will have thoughts on this next week. Can't speak about it yet. I do have it to play, so I will try and give my opinion on it next week.
So just rewind slightly. So you're building castles, and then other people online have to infiltrate them. Is that right?
I'm not even sure if it's online. I don't know if you can play it offline and online, but it could be. But it's basically almost strategy-esque melee. Strategy-esque into kind of.
It's kind of a tower combat hack and slash type thing.
Cool.
But yeah,
That's how are we pronouncing it?
Barbaria, I would say.
I would say Barbaria.
Barbaria. What did I say?
Barbaria.
Barbarella.
Barbaria. Barbaria.
Oh, Barbaria.
Barbaria.
There he goes.
I see. Yeah, Barbaria, didn't I? Yeah, Barbaria. Yeah, that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
It's obviously barbarians.
Because I played let's just segue off into the quest land. So I was playing Dungeons of Eternity with Sean, one of the guys in Discord the other night, and again that's very kind of almost hack and slash dungeon crawler type game, which really kind of whetted my appetite for a little game like that. It was actually really quite fun. So I'm looking forward to giving this a try.
Cool. Well, you can tell us all about it next week.
Yes.
Another thing which you may be able to tell us about next week, or not, who knows, is Drunken Bar Fights, which has appeared on the PSVR2 section of the PSN store, suggesting a release is potentially imminent or coming soon. This is a PSVR1 game that's presumably getting a port over. Any idea what is this, Alex, what this game's all about, other than drunken bar fights?
Specialist area.
It is basically, I think it is just proper like fighting in a bar. Like, I don't know much about the game. Phil speaks quite highly of it. I think he's played it on PSVR1. But it is very much like you just get into. I'm sure there's probably little tasks and little quests and stuff to it, but I think it is what it says in the tin. You just have into a little bit of fisticuffs, probably some weapons to grab, some melee. But I'm speaking out my arse here because I actually genuinely have no idea because I never played it. But
I assume you should. the joy of bottling someone in VR.
Basically, I think so.
What was the other one where you just walk around the streets punching people in the face in the city?
Awful.
Is it Down and Out?
Down and Out, yeah. It seems like this just
A
go with
better
that game
version
and
of
just merge the two into one game where you can just walk around the street fighting people or go against pubs fighting people.
Now imagine if it was like that scene in God of War Ragnarok where you're fighting in the tavern or the bar. Remember that bit?
Yeah, that's awesome.
That was amazing. Like if it was that good. I have a feeling I haven't seen screenshots. So I think I'm barking up the wrong tree.
I don't think it's far off. I think it's just it's not quite there, but it's far off. It's funny
Ragnarok
because
doesn't get enough love. So
No.
thank you, Ben, for
I
mentioning
love
that.
Ragnarok.
Ragnarok seems to everyone's like, oh yeah, it seems to be forgotten about. But this is like one of the best games I've ever played. It's such
Incredible.
a good game.
It's so much better than the first one.
Yes, I was just saying exactly the same thing. Such a big leap forward. It doesn't get enough credit. I think enough recognition for all the so
story,
epic,
how it
so
expanded what was a very narrow, tight, focused story, and just made it into this epic ensemble cast of amazing characters. And,
Yeah.
Because I was thinking when we're totally just going off another little segue.
That's fine. That's fine. I don't care.
When
No
they were
rules.
talking about, there's been all the news this week around the Ragnarok, this big DLC, and whether it's a DLC, and whether it's a standalone, smaller game or what. I'm like, please have a little VR experience in there. Come on. How much
us a
could you
bone.
go? Well, throw us an axe. I mean, come on, it's got to have something in there. You could have a wee arrow, you could have a wee hammer. There's so many things that you could be throwing in that game. Yeah, come on.
Yeah,
it's made for it.
Yeah, the bow and arrow, Atreus spin-off. But I mean, yeah, I think it's blatantly be like a Lost Legacy game, surely, with the same engine and just a new story, and do it as a standalone thing. Probably a new realm, be self-contained.
I mean, I would take that.
Oh,
I
yeah,
would,
for sure.
Love just a bit of side content, even that's just on the back of the sled with firing arrows or whatever. That just be amazing to see that world. That's the difference, is that fidelity and the world building of these first party Sony games. Put a VR experience in that's going to be special.
Yeah.
Well, Fire Sprite are working on something. Hopefully, it's not just a multiplayer shooter or something in VR. Blatantly is going to be that.
No.
Yeah, they made like they did with Call of Mountain. Hopefully, they can take God of War and make something VR related. And we're going very off topic here, but Sony need to have their tentpole IP represented on the headset, I think, and it doesn't need to be full 20, 30 hour games. It doesn't even need to be 5 hour games. It can just be hour or two experiences, and I think just include them as a free add-on with the main games. And just like a nice bonus feature if you've got the headset. Because like you say, if I could I'd happily just not even play a game, just let me look around the world, just let me walk around Sindri and Brock's house in VR. It'd be awesome.
There's your Christmassy VR game. Because that's all snowy, isn't it? Well, one of the realms is, anyway.
It's not actually a VR game, though, is it?
No, but if it was.
Yeah.
I mean, Astro. Is Astrobot?
I'm looking for a game that actually exists.
Jay, Coyote. Yeah, Astrobot is. Miles Morales.
Yeah, that is
VR.
very Christmassy. Yeah.
That's very Christmassy.
Definitely sick.
Yes.
Yeah, I've been playing Spider-Man 2 this week, which is going way off topic now, but I think, yeah, Spider-Man 2, that's why I've been struggling to get it in VR time, because the Spider-Man is good. I just did the Coney Island section yesterday. That was so good.
Is that where you're at?
Oh.
Yeah, that's where I was all on that. That's all I'm at. Yeah.
Right.
Don't shame him.
I've been playing Cyberpunk. I've been playing Mario Wonder. All right, fuck off.
I mean, I feel like that was really early on. I don't think I've got too much of the story
It
left.
is really early on. Yeah, I've played about, I don't know, 5 hours of it.
I think I'm
4 hours
15.
of it. I've been doing lots of other little side activities and stuff.
They're all
I'm not
rubbish, aren't
rushing.
they?
I don't want to rush it. I don't want to rush it.
Yeah, don't rush.
Yeah, you're.
I've only done about 2 hours of it. I've only had one play session with it so far.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh yeah, this is definitely Spider-Man.
Time to sell it.
No, I will play it. It's very good. But, Alan Wake 2, bought that on a whim, started that. Phenomenal. That's got me by the balls.
We've spoken about your whims before, Ben. And your balls. Next up, we've got Next up in the news, one more quick bit of news is the Ghostbusters, which we talked about that. We talked about the sort of games that have had their reviews come out, and this has had some kind of mixed reviews. And it's interesting that it seems to be underwhelming people, which from the previews I can kind of got the sense that was to be expected, that it wasn't going to be that much to it. And the criticism of the game seems to be there isn't a huge amount of content there, and you seem to be repeating the same activities. And certainly from what Reese has said, that when he's played it with his partner for a few hours, and they just get very bored very quickly, and they just had enough of all VR as a result of it. So it's no surprise then that PlayStation have rushed out on their PlayStation blog an update with announcing 2 new modes for the game, when the game should have been out for like literally a couple of days. They're like, oh, no, there's more games coming, more different modes, and there's some competitive multiplayer games coming now, so it's not just co-op, there's going to be competitive modes as well. And they've promised them before the year's end, which doesn't leave a lot of time because we're obviously in November now, so it's within the next kind of 8 weeks or so, I guess.
In time for Christmas. Ghostbusters 2 was set at Christmas time.
Yeah,
Christmas VR game.
Christmas VR game?
Maybe.
Could all play together. Get some eggnog.
Yeah, maybe, Alex, you could message the Masternoid guys and do like a Father Christmas sort of Santa's head that you can blast to bits with your blaster, and then have some Christmassy music. I'm sure that's easy for them to do. But anyway, Ghostbusters, it's it seems like they're on their blogs. Like, everyone's been playing it, and we've been getting great feedback. Yeah, it feels like, because they've obviously got to maintain it's obviously their own game essentially. They own the rights to their Ghostbusters stuff, so they've got to make out that it's this big successful franchise. But it seems like it's not getting a hugely great reception in VR. Although I'm sure there are lots of people playing it that don't pay any attention to random YouTubers that they've never heard of, and are just playing it because it's Ghostbusters, and they're probably quite enjoying it. Again, if they're not playing it for very much, because they're only playing half hour here or there, like a lot of people can only do, they're probably not finding it repetitive yet. So probably the experiences of your average person is probably quite different to
I genuinely think if the 3 of us went and played it now, we'd enjoy it, because I enjoyed what I played with Reese.
Come on then. Let's go now then. Right, that's all for today's show, Aaron. Thanks. We're off to play Ghostbusters. You enjoyed playing it. Yeah. Well, it is downloaded on my PlayStation, so I'm ready to play it. Ready when you are.
My son saw the icon one day. He's like, because he's obsessed with Ghostbusters. So, can we play that? And I was like, yeah, it's a VR game. And he went, you're all right. I just play Minecraft.
That's a bit more Minecraft.
It's a shame.
Just get the Spirit Unleashed, whatever edition they just released for that.
Yes.
Oh yeah, because you can get Ghostbusters in Minecraft now.
No, I just meant the other Ghostbusters game, but there probably
the one
is.
with Greg Miller in.
Yeah, or maybe not.
Oh yeah, well no, there is. You can get. I thought you were talking about the thing. There's Ghostbusters in Minecraft now.
Yeah, there probably is some in Minecraft as well. Yeah, that's right.
Not probably. There is. I'm telling you.
Sorry, Laurie.
Maybe there is, Laurie. I don't
know. Fuck all about Minecraft.
No, nobody knows.
There's no way to know. Yeah.
I just thought we were talking at cross purposes. I apologise.
Cross purposes. That's a spin-off podcast.
We always argue.
There we go.
No one's listening to anyone. The internet and microcosm is a podcast. Okay, let's move on from Ghostbusters before we get too silly. Final bit of thing which made me laugh actually more than anything this week was the news, which if you can call this news, was Sony saying PSVR2 is important, but it's not their core proposition. Which just made me laugh. Because, did anybody think that PSVR2
shocked
was their core proposition over the I don't know, 50 million selling PS5 or their most successful console they've ever had?
Wow.
They thought that,
I feel robbed.
Yeah. I will read out the comment though. This is from Eric Lempel, who is the senior vice president of marketing or someone at PlayStation. I've seen some people saying, he's going to be the new Jim Ryan, but who knows? And he was giving his view about how PS5 is just going to take over the world, basically. And talking about VR, a quote from him, he said, "The VR category is important to us. It's a category that can help us with innovation. It's never going to be the only way people play games, but I'm happy that we're in it. There are great experiences to be had, and consumers really like it, but it's a nascent business for us. It's something that we want to be part of, but it's not the core proposition we have this season. PlayStation 5 is the core." That's it. Which I thought was interesting. Just they even themselves are saying it, like, this is an emerging market for us still, and it feels like they're in it because they feel like they have to be or they want to be. Just think it's more like they're hedging their bets, really, and they've created this platform so they can be involved in these games that are coming out in this emerging market of, like when mobile gaming didn't exist and now it's massive. I'm not saying that VR is going to become the next mobile gaming segment of the market, but it feels like they wanted to have a presence in that. But anyone thinking that Sony are going to go all in on VR, I think this comment will.
But then you look in the flip side of the coin, and you're like, you think this is an emerging market, and you want to be in it. It's not, but is there not an opportunity there to go and be at the forefront of it? So why don't you go when you've got the resources to go and make it work, like where some others don't? But I mean, when you hear comments like that coming out, like, well, how dry is that information coming out of Sony? And you hear what seems to be some inner turmoil at Sony at the minute. Like, Sony does not seem like the best place to be at the minute in general.
That's just like job cuts and stuff from all across the industry, but Sony as well.
It's like the firings and the missteps and all the stuff that's going on and behind the scenes just feels like it's all like.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, you're right. There's a very kind of dry comment. There's not someone that can really sort of fire up the fans and just really kind of get people excited about it. And they were like, we're glad we got this headset, but we're not really too fussed about it. It's like, oh, okay, thanks.
Yeah,
great. Just drop 600 quid on that.
You can pay 200 quid for this other shite thing that you can go and take to your bed. It's not going to work and it's going to like drop out every so often. So yeah.
Are you talking about the PS Portal?
Don't be slagging off the Portal in front of Ben. We won't see him again for a few more weeks.
I'm starting another podcast. The
cross-button Portal. No,
the remote players. There we go.
Remote players.
That works. Yeah. That works very well. I mean, what are you going to talk about though? What's the exclusive? Anyway, never mind.
We just play remotely, like we remotely play, like we barely play anything.
Yeah. Well, here you go.
Great idea. Yep.
Lag
cool.
lovers.
So, Alex. Good. Well, there you go. There's all the news. Okay. Yeah, lots of little bits and bobs going on in the world of PSVR2, but nothing massive, especially from Sony's point of view. Alex, have you played anything else this week that you need to tell us about?
Probably the only other game that's maybe worth mentioning that I played is Box to the Beat, which Reese mentioned when he was on here. Mm-hmm. It's shit. Like, he kind of alluded to it, right? But it's like you play a lot of these. I think he was being a wee bit polite. Like, I mean, if I don't know if he's played Body Combat or not. But see, if you played something like Body Combat and then you go in and play this, and I know it's a slightly different experience, but it just seems like a budget rhythm game, and it's nice to be able to pick your songs and put your thing into it, but like I'm like, oh nah, it's not doing it for me, like not at all. Like Body Combat's far more fun, far more fluid, far more varied, whereas this is a bit like and then you're just like, and it does give you, in fairness, for what it's probably trying to do, it gives you a good workout. Like my shoulders were a wee bit after it. You could feel like you'd put a wee bit of effort into it, but like I like the all-roundedness of like something like Body Combat better. And I think these games are only as good as their soundtrack. And I was going through trying to find a song that I even knew, and I'm like, nah. And I mean, I'm not saying the songs were bad, but there was nothing I'm like sitting, because you could look at something like Synth Riders and you don't necessarily know all the songs in there, and Beat Saber, all the songs are kind of curated and created for the game, and they're good, whereas these are a bit like, they probably are known songs in different parts of the world, but there's nothing I'm sitting there going, I want the box to that. Like, nah, not for me, unfortunately. I'd probably be a bit harsh saying it's shit, but I think there's better options out there, if I'm completely honest.
Weirdly, this goes back to what we were talking about right at the start of the show about, do we go easier on games than other reviewers? And I don't think we do.
I don't think so.
It seems like that's about the harshest review that this has had, is you saying that it's shit. Because Steam seems to be, obviously these are like user reviews, but 8 out of 10. And then the Meta Store, it's got 4.9 out of 5. It's just like, I don't know. People seem to like it. But I can't see any like critic reviews, which is another thing entirely, isn't it?
Yeah, I didn't feel. I just there was no. There's nothing. Certainly, there's nothing sitting here going. Oh, I'm going to go back and give that another try. Like I'm a bit like, no, I'm going to go and play Body Combat. Like if I'm going to want to do
Exactly.
something
We're not
like that,
starved for
Yeah.
good rhythm or fitness games, are we, on the platform? So.
yeah. And I'm going to mention one other thing, and I'm going to go away off into my side quest here. I've been playing Firewatch Simulator VR. And if there was ever a match made more in heaven, it was Firewatch Simulator in VR. Like, this is... I've been playing it, and Grumpy Mark Hammond's been playing it, right? And Grumpy Mark Hammond loved it, and just finds himself and he says it's better than the console version of the game, and it is, like... It's so intuitive, like, as you would expect. I mean, you really could just go and power wash your house or your garden or your car, but you don't want to do that. You want to do it virtually in this. And apparently, like, I haven't tried, like, apparently it's quite good, like, as I kind of see a bit like Walkabout Mini Golf, and, you know, you can open the garden, like, cleaning different bits of the garden and stuff, like
what,
it.
all cleaning the same
Yeah.
thing. Oh, that's
Like
brilliant.
it plays so well. Like, it is so well done. I have seen a
I
few
loved
people.
it when you said, "Oh, I might just go outside and pretend to power wash my own car."
Why not?
Like,
Like, see if you could do that.
Why don't you just clean your fucking car?
It's not the
Actually,
same.
clean your car.
It's like,
Well, this is
do
thing for
something
this,
useful.
like, it's
like there's no
gone.
there's no like I mean, see if you could get a mixed reality mode, and you can bring your car in and it makes it dirty and you can clean it off like that.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
without
yeah,
then
yeah.
going and getting dirty by cleaning your car, but you could just get that feeling of cleaning it. I mean,
Yeah.
why
Or your
not?
neighbours just going,
What the fuck's he
"What's this
doing?
idiot doing?"
I mean, it's become like a running joke now that every year when I pressure wash on my patio, I send Ben a picture of it because I know he loves the before and after shots that I do.
Very satisfying.
It's a very satisfying job, but I don't know I need to do it in VR because it's like I could just do it in real life. It's good. I enjoy doing it in real life. It's like if there was like a VR lawnmower simulator. It's like I enjoy mowing the lawn. It's like a nice kind of therapeutic task that I can do every few weeks in the summer.
But the multiplayer thing does sound funny.
I mean,
must say.
I don't know if
if
you
you
are
guys
in
want
the
to come
same.
round and just clean my car.
Do it together.
Bring
I
your
mean,
own
do you have more than one?
Karcher.
Yeah, do you have more than one hose? Like,
Sorry.
It's got hose in different area codes.
but it's, I can't confirm if you're cleaning the same space in multiplayer because I haven't done it. I've just heard it is very good as a multiplayer like social experience as well. So, but I haven't managed to do that yet.
Wow.
Please bring it to PSVR2.
It needs
it's
to,
Endreams, isn't it? Publishing
yeah,
it?
well, Endreams are publishing it. It's Future Lab who have developed it, but it's
Yeah.
Endreams that have published it. And
Surely
it feels
do we
like
feel like-
it needs to come to
I feel like it's a
PSVR.
small dev. They're just doing the quest, and then they'll do a port to
I hope so.
PSVR2 soon.
It's a big enough game to warrant a release on PSVR2 as
Yeah.
well, and know that they will sell that on PSVR2. So fingers crossed.
Yeah, good. Right, before we wrap up the next, we're going quite long. I just want to we've had a huge run of games that have been released, and just want to cover off the big games that we've got. We don't need to talk about them, but just to remind everyone what is coming now for the rest of the year, what we can look ahead to for just the next couple of months. So we'll just do that. But before I do that, just remind everyone that if they want to give us a sub on whatever they're using, that is great too. And please do leave us a review because that always really helps. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us on YouTube, actually, because we are so close to breaking another milestone of subscribers. So please, if you're not subscribing already on YouTube, please do that. And if you're an audio listener, just take a minute out of your day and go on YouTube and find us and subscribe to the Crossplayers on YouTube. That would be really grand. And you can join our Patreon at patreon.com/thecrossplayers. And for £2 a month, you can gain entry into our little WhatsApp group of fun. So yeah. I'm looking at releases, Alex. I know you've got a release schedule, but from what I can see, I think we've got to look forward to in the next few weeks. Tiger Blade, which is another one that you two are both really excited for.
Yes.
Arashi, Castles of Sin, and then Arizona Sunshine 2, and Bulletstorm VR. Is that still that's still due for December?
14th of December, off the top of my head. But I'm not sure.
That's getting delayed. That is definitely going to get delayed. Come on. That's anyway. And then Kill It With Fire as well. And then, is there anything else that I've missed there?
When are the Game Awards?
8th, 9th of December. It's usually that kind of second week of December. Then that's when
Resident
we get
Evil
Astroport.
4.
Yeah.
Resident Evil 4 VR release. Shadow Drop Game Awards.
Could be.
You heard it here first.
Yeah.
All right,
be
Phil.
too surprising.
This actually might come true.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So that's when
But yeah.
Astrobot's coming.
I mean, maybe in a future episode in coming weeks we'll have a sort of proper sort of preview episode of. But just wanted to point out because we've had obviously October's been great for releases, and there was a few other big ones there like Tiger Blade and Arizona Sunshine 2 and Bulletstorm, some big releases to end the year on. And it's just not that momentum is not slowing down. I mean, at least we have a couple of weeks, hopefully, before anything else comes out, that we can actually get a chance to catch up with some of these games that we've been got to play here.
I need to get my VR legs back.
Yeah,
dig
especially
into some-
before Resident Evil drops.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, if Resident Evil does land this year as well, I think if that just comes out, I think before February, so it hit the kind of the first year window, launch year. We keep saying it, but the momentum of games that are coming out, none of them obviously made by Sony themselves, but doesn't matter. There's still loads of stuff to play on here. And then I put out a tweet of how there's been a few games that people are like, oh, there's another disappointing release on PSVR2. But I think in October there were a good 3 or 4 which are unquestionably good games, and some that are very good games. I think for me, probably The Seventh Guest and Vampire, obviously the 2 that really stand out for me. But yeah, what a run it's having.
Seventh Guest was excellent. I know I said that last week, but I continue to believe it.
Yeah,
really
Ben, you should
was
play
like-
that because that is probably a good one
Yeah.
to not going to make you motion sick, because you can teleport around and you're standing in one place and solving puzzles on the you're standing on the spot doing them.
I will.
Good.
And I'll
Good.
be playing Assassin's Creed Nexus in a couple of weeks as well, Laurie.
Oh, fuck off. I'm so I'm just going to break into your house and steal your quest, so don't worry. It's fine. No, maybe Ubisoft will send me a quest to play on. Please, Ubisoft, please. Good. Well, let's wrap things up there, guys, because I think we're probably dangerously close to going over an hour. If we haven't already, Ben is probably going to be spitting feathers at me. Thank you everyone again for listening. If you have enjoyed this episode, we'd love it if you could tell your family and friends, your mums and dads, your cousins, your aunts, your uncles, all about us. And if you would like to get more involved with the rest of us, don't hesitate to drop into our Discord and say hello. Thanks to everyone that's done so already. It's great to see so much going on there. I remember to check Discord every few days, and there's like hundreds of messages in the VR chat that I had to catch up on. So apologies for people that have been sending me messages that I've been completely ignoring, because sorry about that.
We get the
But
same,
thank you.
don't worry.
The
Yeah.
life of a celebrity.
Yeah.
I just have to-
Ignores us too.
I did just forget that the app exists. But yeah, don't let that put you off. But thanks, and last but not least, thank you everyone for the patrons for supporting the work we do. I've been your host, Laurie. These two have been Ben and Alex, and we will see you again next time. Until then, though, it's goodbye.